Hey guys, this is Shannon from Awash with Wonder, and today I want to talk about comparison and the insecurity that it invites into our lives. I think that comparison is a natural part of the creative process, especially when you're creating online where there are just so many people to compare yourselves to, and it can be super discouraging. So I wanted to talk about my recent comparison meltdown and what it kind of taught me about my own work. So I started off 2015 super motivated. I'm creating more than I ever have before, and I'm putting it out really consistently, and I felt great about it. But then I came up for air, and I was stumbling around the internet, and I came across this blog that was just really great. I just loved it from the moment I arrived on it. But instead of thinking, wow, I'm so inspired by this person, I thought, wow, here's another person on the internet that is way more talented than me, and I should probably stop creating right now. And then I promptly got super down and unhappy about the stuff that I'm creating, which I was happy about 5 minutes before that. And when I mentioned this to my boyfriend, I didn't actually mention it, he just noticed that I looked miserable. And he said, I don't understand. Do you not hear the people complimenting you? Do you not listen when they tell you that they like your writing? And here's the thing. I do listen and I do hear it and I really appreciate it, as all writers and creators do. But I also think that no matter what, the voice inside your head speaks louder than anything else can. I could become a world famous author, and still I would have doubt when I'd sit down and write again, because doubt is just part of the creative process, and no amount of criticism and no amount of praise is ever going to be louder than that voice inside of me that says you should create, or on bad days you should never create again. So because I think that voice is important, I wanted to look a little closer at it and look at why this website, of all the websites that I see every day, triggered my comparison issues and brought up so much insecurity in me. First, whenever we're comparing ourselves, I think it's really important to determine if the success they have is actually the success you want. So because I write a lot, it's kind of natural for me to think about maybe writing a book one day. And when I go on a website and I see that the blogger has managed to turn her blog into a book deal, it can make me think, well, why haven't I got a book deal? And then I'm really disappointed in myself. But if I think about that for even a second longer, I realize that I've never written a book. I've never even sat down and thought about an idea for a book. And I've never asked for a book deal. So I don't want a book deal at this part in my life. Maybe I will want that in the future, but there's no point getting upset about myself for something that I don't even want right now. The same is true about when I go on a blogger that is hugely popular. Obviously, we want people to read or watch or look at the stuff that we create, and it can be disappointing to see that someone else is like monopolizing the conversation. But then I dig a little deeper into their blog and I see that all the comments are like, come look at my blog, or you have a nice hat. And even though it's really great that they have a huge following and I hope that it finances them being able to follow their creative work, I realize that that is not the kind of following I want, because my favorite part of blogging is the really thoughtful and interesting discussions I get to have with the people that read my blog. So when I realize that the success that they have is not the success that I want, it's very easy to lighten up and just be happy for them and be inspired by them and not be so hard on myself. But the problem is, that's not the kind of comparison blues that linger. The ones that linger is when I discover someone who does have the kind of success that I want. So let's go back to this website that made me feel so upset about myself. I looked a little closer at it and I wanted to know, why does this website, of all the websites, because there's a million great ones that I visit all the time, make me feel so bad about myself. And it was because her website shone with purpose. It was just so clear what her purpose was. And every single piece of content that she put out aligned with that purpose and was helpful. So, I've been writing Awash with Wonder for 3 years now, and I've always thought of it kind of as my baby. And even though it's public and anyone can read it, I've thought of it as this really like special part of myself. And I haven't wanted to monetize it. I haven't wanted to make it very polished. I haven't wanted to make it sophisticated because I felt that that wouldn't be an authentic representation of who I am. So I've kind of kept it a baby blog for the entire time that I've been writing. And I've tried to convince myself that this is what I really want because this is an authentic expression of myself. But I've grown up. In the 3 years since I started blogging, I've become much clearer about what I want to write about. I've become clearer about who I am. And I've also started to do client work where I help coach people with their writing, and I also do writing for them. And my favorite part of those client relationships is always the beginning phone calls where I help them figure out how to say what they want to say and to get really clear on what's important about their story. I like, in short, to be helpful. And with writing Awash with Wonder, my favorite posts have always been the ones that resonated deeply with someone or just helped someone feel seen or help someone navigate a difficult part in their life. So being helpful is really important to me. And in realizing that, when I looked at this blog, I understood that I can make my website more outward focused while maintaining my integrity and my authenticity because being helpful is authentic for me. So I guess what the lesson that I took from it was that seeing how they were really living that full expression of their purpose made me want to embrace mine more fully. And as soon as I did that, I took that comparison blues that were making me feel so disappointed and terrible and turned them into the thing that was going to energize me and motivate me to start really chasing the things that I want to chase and to stop trying to convince myself that I don't want the things that I want. And then finally, the last thing that I always think about when I get stuck in this comparison trap is that famous quote by Ira Glass, where he talks about how when we first start creating things, there's a gap between what we make and what we want to make. And we are so aware of that gap because we have great taste. And the taste is important because the taste is what will eventually help you to start making that great stuff. So now when I see something that makes me feel insecure, I'm going to give myself a little high five for having the good taste to notice when something was great and for knowing that I can get there one day, but I have to just keep creating. If I stop, it's only going to take me longer to get there. So that's my idea of how to deal with comparison because I had to come up with something. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.